And hello. Welcome back to another episode of Success Scopes with Carol R. Owens. I hope you had a wonderful, blessed, and fun weekend. And I hope you've been enjoying the scopes. I wasn't here on Friday, and I'll tell you, I had a quick situation. I had to help someone out, and I was, kind of glad to be able to help them out. But we're back here today, Monday, 2 p.m. for our regular Success Scopes. For those who don't know me, my name is Carolyn R. Owens, and I am the chairwoman and CEO of Infinity Coaching Incorporated, where we help you up-level your skills so you can up-level your income. And we try to be here every Monday at 2 p.m., every Friday at 2 p.m. On Mondays, we talk about strategies and tips that'll help you move forward in life and different things that you can implement, that we come back on Friday and check in and see, hey, how's it going? Just to see if you have any questions, ideas, suggestions, and just how the tips and strategies worked for you. Hi, Carolyn Fearon is always here with us just about every week, and actually that's my mom, so I'm glad to have her here with me. Thanks for being here again. And I have to tell you, she actually learned how to use Periscope to be here and hear the scopes every week. So taking the time to go on and hop on there and download it, so I appreciate that. So we've been talking a lot about sleep deprivation, and if you can know, I started titling it The Thief of the Night. And the reason I say that is because it is without getting that sleep, all the impact and everything that it's stealing away from you, what it's taking away from your life, your business, your career. And it's trying to get people to understand just how important it is. Especially, I'm a career, leadership, and life coach, and really understanding how something as simple as sleep can impact your productivity, your efficiency, and how you're showing up in the world. And it's supposed to be this badge of honor when people talk about, ooh, I've only had 2 hours of sleep, or it's it becomes this competition of how much sleep somebody's had, and really you're only hurting yourself in the long run. And you may not feel it now, you may not feel it tomorrow, but eventually the lack of sleep catches up to you, and you may not associate the different things that are happening to your body, your relationship, how you're acting with that. So we talked about some of the signs of sleep deprivation, and we talked about the impact. And so we didn't get to do our quick recap of the impact, so I'll just go over those things. We talked about 5 ways that were basically, it physically impacted you, how sleep deprivation did, and then 5 ways that it really affected the mind. So we talked about poor health, when you're sleeping and your body needs to produce the antibodies and protective cells to fight off viruses and diseases, and heart disease. And I came back and paused on this one last week, because heart disease is the #1 killer for women, and 1 in 5 African American women believe she is not at risk. They don't realize it, and the percentage of women with heart disease is even much higher for African American women. And so 49% of women above 20, African American women above the age of 20, actually have heart disease. And lack of sleep is associated with heart disease. And so we also talked about weight gain. We talked about how in terms of weight gain, you tend to be hungrier, you're eating more because you're so exhausted and you're not thinking clearly, you're not focusing. So you're wondering where those extra pounds are coming from, and it could actually be associated with not getting enough sleep. You can exercise, you can be doing everything, but you're not also making good choices about what you're eating, because a lot of behavior becomes unconscious. And then also we talked about your skin and how lack of sleep can actually age your skin faster because of how it affects the hormones in your body. And the other one we mentioned was the effects of alcohol consumption, that is magnified when you don't get a lot of sleep. So those are some of the physical impacts. And then we talked about some of the things that affect us, our mind and our ability to be able to function and be productive, in terms of how it impacts our careers, when we start having memory problems, our decision-making ability, our cognitive functioning. All of that shows up at work, in our career, and our businesses. And we could even be judged at, it seems like we don't even know what we're doing, but we're just tired and we're exhausted. And the next one was relationships, where you can be experiencing some depression and some moodiness, and you're snapping at people faster, and how are you communicating? And then there was also one of my favorite, hallucinations, when you're so tired that it looks like the fire hydrant is moving, or you look at like your cabinet door seems to be moving a little bit, and that's just because you're so tired. With that hallucinations, you get that impulsive behavior, and it can also lead to depression, paranoia, and sometimes it's associated with suicidal tendencies. So that's another key impact of sleep deprivation. And then the other one is less interest in sex, because you're so tired, you're sleepy, and you have this increased tension that you're not even interested. You're not going to put in that physical effort. And men who have sleep apnea tend to have lower testosterone. So that's another major impact of sleep deprivation. And the one that you'll hear me mention over and over again, because of the danger associated with it, is micro sleep. And so this is when your brain pretty much kind of shuts down. It could be for about 30 seconds, just a few seconds, or sometimes for some people that lasts even a few minutes, and you're asleep. Your eyes can be open, or they can slowly close, or it happens when people are driving. It's almost like being blind and your eyes are open and you're asleep. And the impact of that is, you think about the traffic accidents, or even when you talk about walking while you're asleep. Hey, not sure what happened there. I think I'm still broadcasting. If I am, can somebody type into the comments to hi or something, because it kind of had a little switch here for me for a second from the taping on my end. So okay, thank you. I'm still here then. So when you think about all the impacts and everything, now we're going to talk about some of the tips and strategies that can help you get more sleep. And the best thing is natural remedies that you don't have to take a medication, just shifting some lifestyle changes, different things that you can do. But it's a natural way to start getting more sleep so you can show up, reaching that full potential that you can in life. So the affirmation this week associated with this aspect of sleep deprivation is, there is peace in my life. And it's that simple. There is peace in my life. Because as you begin to make some changes, get the rest you need, you're going to have more of a calming effect. You're going to have more peace in your life. You're not going to be as grumpy. You're going to be rested and relaxed, which is what a lot of people do not, they don't have that in life, because you got so much coming at you every single day. The pressures, the work. We do more with less, where we're actually, your company needs more people, but you're sitting there just working. So how can you bring more peace into your life? And so we're talking about doing it, starting with some sleep, getting sleep. So the first thing I would say for some of our remedies, and we're breaking it up into 3 categories. And the first one is preparing for bed. Then we talk about the environment you're setting, and then some of the key lifestyle changes. And so each one, of course, I have 10 for each to kind of get you to focus on them, because there's a lot of information and a lot of research. People get paid big bucks to study sleep. And so the first one is, are you getting to bed early enough? And so if you have to be up at 5:30 in the morning and you're going to bed at 3 a.m., you're not going to be getting enough sleep if you're doing that consistently every single day. It's not going to cut it, because your body needs that time to rest. It needs to recharge. It needs to get rid of the toxins that are coming from your gallbladder. Your gallbladder dumps those toxins while you sleep. And if you're awake, you're not going to be able to have that release of all that negative toxins and everything that's in your body. So really think about, before you're going to bed, how much time are you getting? And it's different for everybody. The key hours to sleep are, 11 p.m. to 1 p.m., but most of us don't do that. That's when a lot of the cleansing in our body is taking place. And if you think about it, before we had electricity, people used the daylight to say, okay, the sun is set, now it's time to go to bed. So you know we're definitely not, sunset, sunrise. We're not getting that kind of sleep anymore. So the second one would be put your work away at least 1 hour before you go to bed. And some people prefer to say 2 hours. But it's not something that you're gonna, you practice these in small increments. So, okay, 15 minutes before, 30 minutes till you get up to that hour where you kind of, shut down and you're letting your brain wind down. Because if you're doing work just before you go to bed, your mind's still running and you're thinking about, I got to do this tomorrow, I'm going to do that, or what meeting you have. Well, you want to wind that down so you can find that peace and get that relaxing state going. And we're going to talk about some ways in the environment on how you can create that relaxed state of mind. And so you don't want to be all hyped up just before you go to bed. And another one related to that would be avoid watching TV or using your computer before you go to bed. At least, again, an hour before going to bed. Shut it down, because a lot of these shows and everything, I am a big fan of watching Leverage and watching the show Flashpoint. And those are high energy shows. And they're stimulating the brain and getting things going. So if you got to learn to kind of pull away from that an hour or so before you go to bed. Again, winding down to set yourself in the mode to go to bed. I think one of the next one is one of the hardest ones, and that would be don't change your bedtime. A lot of research and doctors have said if you should consistently go to bed and wake up at the same time, even on weekends. And it's going to help your body get into a sleep, a rhythm, a pattern. And so it's easier for you to fall asleep and then get up in the morning. But I will say for a lot of people, that's hard, especially on the weekends, is going to bed at that same time consistently. But try to do it as often as you can. And the next one, I'm not sure if you heard this one before, is don't drink any fluids within 2 hours of going to bed. Because it's going to, 2 hours before going to bed, because it will reduce the likelihood that you're going to get up in the middle of the night. And when you're getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you're breaking up your sleep pattern, because then now your body has to adjust, okay, now I have to go back to sleep. So think about that. But in terms of, so if you stop 2 hours before, don't drink any fluids 2 hours before you go to bed. But at the same time, use the restroom, use the bathroom before you go to bed. Because that's going to also reduce the likeliness of you having to get up. So that's 5 things that we can think about starting to adjust and change our strategies to get us going to, preparing for sleep at night, preparing for that rest, preparing for that peace. So the key word throughout this next part of sleep deprivation that I want you to think about is discipline. Because we'll sit here and, we'll try it one day, and then we'll, okay, well, it didn't work. Or, well, the discipline and the consistency that's going to come with trying these different things, that's the only way it's going to work. You have to hold yourself accountable and have the discipline to start taking some steps to get the sleep you need. And again, I emphasize everybody's different. I may need less sleep than you do, or, I know people who consistently without 8 hours of sleep, they are a pure hell to work with. They've got to get 7-8 hours sleep. And I believe my average is about 5-6 hours that I can fully function and be ready, good to go with that amount of sleep. But it really depends on the individual. And it will change as things in your life change. If you haven't had children yet and you become a parent, as you age, how's your body adjusting to what amount of sleep you need? So those are 5 things. Try them throughout this week. See if it works for you. See how it helps you. And then when we come back next week, we're going to continue talking about, on next Monday, some things, additional things that you can do to prepare you at night to get that rest and relaxation you need so you can wake up refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the day. So again, the affirmation this week is about peace. And I want to invite you to continue the conversation with us in our free Facebook community. And you can find it at infinitycoaching.net/community. We are sharing tips, strategies, resources that help you in your career, in your business. It's a small group, but a very professional a group they're just accomplishing wonderful things in their life, and I'm glad to have them as a part of the group and the different things that we do and encourage and motivate each other. So you can find us there. Again, that's infinitycoaching.net/community. And also, you can have any questions, suggestions, ideas, just want to talk to me, you can email me at cowens@infinitycoaching.net. And again, I'll be back here Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Do a follow-up check-in and see how your week went. So until then, here's to your success. Have a wonderful, blessed week. See ya.